those tabs off. I am here with Ely Ahmadian, and we are really going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to be running around in the Omniverse City together. And if you joined us at 12 p.m. this afternoon, you might have seen David Green taking us a walkthrough of his experience, and you would have heard his, journey, being somebody who's been doing these events for a few years. But Ely, you're very new to these virtual and metaverse tools. Is that right?
Yes. Thank you, Charlene, for having me. And thank you. I was one of the, I was licensed in, I'm going to show my age here, but I was licensed back in 2007. And I would go to Seco to get my credits. And I was always the one that would want to go to the exhibit hall and see what was the newest, latest thing. And I got to say, it's just amazing where we're at today. So thank you for having me. And I'm really looking forward to seeing and sharing this virtual tour.
Excellent. And, Ely, I always think it's helpful for our audience to not only, obviously to get to know you. So I do want to give you a few minutes to tell us a little bit about yourself. And it's also important for people to understand your journey in the industry. We kind of underestimate the power of perspective. And when you have one deep perspective, like let's say somebody who's been an optician for 30 years, that's powerful. But when you've got diversity in your perspective and you can really see this industry from all of these different lenses, you develop this like super empathy and you just become really like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, just compassionate from no matter who you're talking to, because you understand the challenges that they uniquely face, whether they're a manufacturer, a distributor, an optician, an optometrist. I am pretty much a unicorn in my diversity of perspective, but I've come to know you and you are also. So I would just love to let you tell people kind of how you've got your perspective and a little bit about your history.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. So, you kind of said it, like experience is what makes you. And I was fortunate enough to be part of the optical industry as a very young age. I was 17 and I had a lot of experience in different facets, whether I was working for an independent or I was working for a corporate or I was working for a family doctor, and being able to really see the industry in these different facets was really an eye awakening of where we are today. And just throughout my years, I've always wanted to bridge the gap between, because I consider myself a millennium/Gen X, like right on the cusp. So I was a daydreamer in this essence of bridging the gap between where we had Nokia, and when I would pimp out my phone,
not Nokia,
changing out the antennas, right? To
the screw-on, remember the screw-on antennas?
Right.
I had the little phone in the suitcase, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Remember? I was so cool with my little phone in my suitcase.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, really, it's bridging that gap between technology, the virtual and the digital. So yeah, it's very fascinating. Very fascinating.
Well, and, working with a variety of different eyewear, because I think your last couple of years has been really focused on eyewear brands. And, you don't share about this a lot, but you're actually an entrepreneur yourself. You've created your own brand and you've been able to go through that process. A lot of reps don't get to do that. So a lot, and if I remember back to my days when I was an employee, I used to always say, if I had the opportunity, I would do things so differently. And sometimes I eat my words and I'm like, okay, now I get it. Being a manufacturer now, somebody who is taking something from design phase to the market and working with different designers that are some manufacturers, some licensing. Tell us a little bit about that, journey for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've always had a entrepreneurial mindset and never really knew how to take the step into that journey. But I was, my trajectory changed from when I was an optician and wanted to be an optometrist to getting more onto the retail and then the wholesale side. And being a sales consultant, I've realized how to look at brands as if they were my own, and not necessarily representing a brand, but how could I really think about this brand as if it was my own? And there's a lot of things underneath that, but specifically, my eye was more on the business aspect of it and how to scale a business. And it's really interesting how there's different tools today that we can really take advantage of and be able to see and watch how we can scale our businesses to the next level. And it's just something that if you want to grow in your business and your brand, whether you're new, you've got to use the tools that are there, because guess what? Everything's about streamlining. And what a better way to use the tools to streamline our business to get the results that we want. So,
and connectivity is king, right? So I got to tell you, my vision show has been building and growing for 4 years now. And my vision show evolved into the optical metaverse. Actually, my vision show evolved into the Eyewear Artwalk in the end of 2021, when our fans decided they wanted more than virtual, which is when we did the physical events. The obvious cost of physical made it challenging for us to do that. So, hey, Trevor, that's when we started offering the, the 3D events. And that was our way of trying to bridge the gap between what we're doing right now, this video call, to something that felt more real. And we'll be taking a walk in the metaverse in just a little bit. And, I'd love for you to kind of share your experience, not just as a user, but as somebody who's going to be using these tools to conduct business. But one of the things I've always loved, and what has made me stick with this, because it's a lot of work. It's long. It's hours and hours and hours of planning and producing and sharing and posting and recruiting and praying and crying. Oh my God, forget it. This is a long journey. This is 4.5 years, right? But it's people like you, because every show, and we've been doing them about every 90 days for the last 4 years. That's a lot. Okay, that's at least 4 to 8 shows a year. That's over 30 shows in the last 4 years. Every show I meet someone like you. And it's somebody who you can tell that they've just had a great career. They've got a lot ahead of them. You could tell that they're going to embrace these tools and just reimagine themselves and evolve. And I have to thank you, whether it be this or an audio podcast or, getting out there and sharing the word, going to Denver, meeting people, producing fashion shows. You have just dove in with your official Eyewear Artwalk t-shirt. And I just want to thank you so much from all of us. I'm sure we all share that sentiment. You've been just a breath of fresh air, but you're doing it for a reason, not just because you're a fan of Eyewear Artwalk, you're a fan of your own future. And tell me what your perception is now of your future, knowing all these new tools you're going to have.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always believed in thriving in what I'm passionate about. And it literally took me this many years, 20 plus years to really come to today and really sit back and be like, this is what it means to love what you do and do what you love. Right. So, and it's really just that, like I said, my first year when I was going to get my credits for my first year as a licensure, I was so fascinated about the next new thing and the next new thing. Why? And I never could connect the dots onto what that why was, but it's a passion for me to know that I can impact people on so many different in so many different ways. But nonetheless, it's just it's been a journey, and I want to thank you, Charlene, for giving me this opportunity and really being able to be in a position to broadcast that passion. So thank you.
I think that's a great way to describe it. Your broadcast, people can see it, right? They can hear it in your voice. They see that you're showing up. We did the meeting earlier today at 12 p.m. with David, because David is representative of eyewear brands to show what he's doing. This is both for you if you're a designer in a brand thinking, what are these tools? How can I use them? Definitely we'll be posting the replay with David at 12. But with Ely, what I'm really excited about is I want you to be able to, when we do the walkthrough, share with our listeners and our watchers, our viewers, the Kazoku lunettes experience. But then I want you to shift roles and talk about the Ely Ahmadian experience, because as a VP of business development, you have two roles with Kazoku. You have to be mindful of the brand development and executing and making sure that everything's in alignment and supporting your reps and, doing that role. But then you have to shift back and forth into the role of, finding the right, accounts, building those relationships. I always say, shaking hands and kissing babies. And these tools are designed for you to flip back and forth in those roles very seamlessly. So I know you're starting to see some ways you're going to use these tools, but feel free to tell us, how you're going to use these tools to shape this experience. Any last words before we dive in? No? Okay.
Oh, I thought that was the Trevor. I apologize. No, I'm excited.
Yeah, Trevor too. Trevor.
Let's do it. I tried to create my avatar. It was so fun creating it.
We're going to hope Omniverse City is cooperative, because sometimes when I'm live streaming, it does tend to be a little cranky. I'm going to turn my video off. And I'll tell you a little bit more when we get in, because sometimes when the music starts, it's kind of hard to hear me. Yay. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So going forward, when we do these events, which will be every 2 weeks leading up to Eyewear Artwalk, we're going to take you in, but we're going to also share the experience with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in, and then I'm going to create so right now, just to kind of bring things into perspective, and I love what you said offline, Ely, about keeping this simple. So I'm going to explain the technology as simply as I can, but feel free when you get in to explain how you understand it, because I know that you have a much simpler way of explaining, what this technology is, so others can kind of grasp it. But in technical terms, right now, I am streaming. I am not using my own computer to run this platform. This platform is far too powerful for any computer. I am streaming. This is a stream. This is the Charlene stream in the Omniverse City. If Ely was to come in right now, Ely would be in the Ely stream. So we would both be in the same place, but since we'd have our own kind of little virtual rocket ships that we were in that were powering us here, we wouldn't be together. However, there is a way to share your stream. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Now, anybody that's ever played any multiplayer games before, this is not like, magic here. It's like, okay, great. You're creating a, multiplayer server for us to play around in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to.
And to kind of make it like dumbified, I guess you can say, or maybe to like terms of what every user would be using, like, and I don't know if I should say this or if I could disclaim this, but like kind of like Snapchat, when you're building your avatar and you go to the map and you can see all your friends. It's kind of like that,
Yes,
but just keep it like to where it is. But this is like an e-commerce solution on a different level. So I'll let you continue.
No, I love that you gave that example. I never thought about that. So when you share your location, right, with your phone, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I'm here. And then that person can click that and get a GPS to you. That's exactly what you're doing here. So did you guys just get the link that I shared in the chat?
I didn't receive it.
All right, let's try in here.
There it is.
Okay, so
I clicked on it.
just to give you a little bit of housekeeping tips. If you've never been in the Omniverse City before, when you click this link, you're not going to see me. You're going to create your avatar. You're going to go in. You're going to be in the same place that I am, but you won't be with me, thus with us. However, once you get in, you'll be able to go back and click the link and teleport instantly to where we are. So we will be exploring the metaverse together. Now, these first couple of sessions that we're doing, today being the first one, we're not going to really spend a whole lot of time waiting for everyone to get in. But we've already got a long list of volunteers. So expect the next session that we do to be in here with 50 to 100 additional people. And I promise you, running around the Omniverse City with 50 to 100 people is a blast. And Trevor, hey, Ellie!
Oh my gosh, success on trial 1. I love it.
I'm saying. So what I'm going to do now, again, this is another kind of housekeeping tip, is I'm going to click the gear in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to turn the mic off because this will allow me and you to talk in the Omniverse City without getting an echo in our webinar. And this makes it possible for us to go through the Omniverse City together. Welcome to the Omniverse City, Ellie.
Hey, can you get feedback with my music or no?
No, but you can turn the music down. Just click the gear.
Got it.
There you go.
I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Where did I go?
And then what I'm going to do is if you follow me, so I'm going to go to the Kazoko Lunette booth.
Okay. Wow, this is actually my first experience, and I'll tell you, it is so easy. Can I make her go walk faster?
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to hold down the shift key and press the W, and then she'll run. Let me watch you run. Let me see you run for the first time.
Okay, now, you're good.
Shift W, Shift W.
Shift W.
Yeah, look at Ellie. Oh, she just raced past me.